All right, testing 1 2 1 2. Um, I hope this is working properly. I hope my settings are fine. This is the first time I do a live stream. I can't believe I'm doing this. If you only knew how my day was, where I currently am, because like my internet at the other hotel was terrible, so I had to book another place to do the show. Because I promised people that I'm gonna do a comedy show right now. So this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. I just arrived at this place. I'm trying to set it up. I'm at the hotel lounge, and important though to know. Um, I'll never forget my grandfather's last words before he died. He said, "Are you still holding that ladder?" So the purpose of today's show is basically to do comedy. Supposed to practice comedy skills. Um, yeah, I had 7 days to practice my comedy routine because it's one of those skills that can change your life. Basically, um, it's part of the 53 skills project that I'm doing this year. And this is skill number 12, which is, I guess, making strangers laugh, right? I think it's a superpower to be able to make strangers laugh. If people are going to join, that's fine. If not, I will have the recordings of this and I hope I'll be funny enough. It's going to be around half an hour show. Thank you for joining. Let me know in the chat if the audio is fine or if it's not good, because I don't know if you can hear me fine. I do not know, but I hope it's fine. I hope the audio is okay. Well, if not, that's going to be one of the biggest disasters of my career. All right, cool. So I went today through around, no, not today, like actually this week from Monday through around more than 500 jokes to find something decent so I can have like a half an hour comedy routine. I only found around 8 jokes that I'm going to try to tell today. And I hope they're going to make you smile at least once. If I make you laugh once, that is already a win. So, um, let's start with this one. All right. So, the Pope, you know the Pope, right? From the church, is super early for his flight. So, his driver arrives there to take him with the car where he needs to go. Now, the Pope's hasn't didn't go with the car for a long time. He hasn't driven along for a long time since he became the Pope. So now that he had a little bit of extra time, he just asking the driver, "Hey, can I drive a little bit the car? I just want to try it out." And the driver says, "Okay." Um, he goes around town, and at one point, the police stops the car. All right, I see there somebody said the audio is great in the chat. Thank you so much for joining, Claudia. Appreciate you. Right. So the Pope is driving around town. He gets stopped by the police. The policeman sees it and he immediately goes and calls the police station. He's like, "Chief, we have a situation here. It's something very urgent." And he's like, "What's happening?" "So I've pulled over somebody extremely important and I do not know what to do." And then the chief, the police officer, is like, "How important?" He's like, "Is it the governor?" "No, it's bigger." "Is it a politician?" "No." Is it a rock star, or like who is this person?" And then the policeman says, "Look, to be honest, I don't know who it is, but his driver is the Pope." That's the punchline. You have no idea. So I actually studied for the whole week a little bit of comedy theory. Like, how does it work? Why is it funny, right? How do we make people laugh? One of the interesting things to know is something called benign violation theory, which basically says that um, when our expectations are shifted, right? So we go in one direction, and then in the talk it goes completely different, but it's not dangerous. This relief that we get, or this unexpected surprise, makes us laugh, makes us feel good. So it's kind of a little bit of like an up and down, right? Because it's something that's maybe potentially tense, potentially unexpected, or it is expected and then it goes in a different direction. And this gives us a specific feel of comfort and relaxation when things are good again, let's put it this way. But something else. What do you call a dog with no legs? I'll give you a little bit of time to think. So, what do you call a dog with no legs? Well, it doesn't matter because it's not gonna come anyway. I'm mixing a little bit, some dark humor, some stories. You'll find out. We have 24 more minutes together because, like, I promised people I'm gonna do like a half an hour comedy show. So this is where we're at. Let's take a darker turn. Let's take another something else. So a guy is sitting at a bar, right? And he suddenly let me see. This is terrible delivery. Again, if we go back to comedy theory, 80% of the joke is the delivery, like the pacing, the word placement, the punchline should be at the end, the confidence, the voice. I never did live streams before, and this is where we're at. So like I'm doing here a little bit of practice. I appreciate your patience. So there's this guy at the bar. He's there with his drink when suddenly, like a huge truck driver arrives. He takes his drink and he drinks it all in one sip. And the guy immediately just starts crying. So then the truck driver is like, "Hey man, it was just a joke, like I wanted to be a little bit rude, but like I didn't know you would start crying, like I'll buy another drink, don't worry about it." And the guy says, "No, you have no idea. It's been one of the worst days of my life. I arrived late at work and they fired me. Um, when I got back from the office, they stole my car. Then I took a taxi and I forgot my wallet in the taxi. When I finally arrived home, my wife was cheating me with the gardener. And then I came to this bar and I just was thinking of ending it all, and you just drank my poison." I should have some sound effects or something. I'm thinking maybe sound effects to this would be useful. If not, it's fine. I'll maybe in post production I'm gonna try to add some sound effects. I have no idea how many people are gonna watch this or watching here right now, but thank you for being there. All right, let me go through this list. Hmm. Oh yeah. Have you ever thought that the escalator? So the escalator, I mean, when you go, for example, to the shopping mall, right? They have those automatic stairs, like escalators, they're called in English. Have you ever thought that those things never actually break? Because when they break, they just become stairs. So I think I forgot my punchline here. But it's true though, if you think about it, it's like they don't, when they break, they just become stairs. So they're not actually broken, they're just manual, I guess. Hmm. What else do I have here on my list? Ah, if you think about it, saying I'm sorry is the same as saying I apologize, except if you're at a funeral. All right, let me see what else do I have here on my list, or I tell some personal stories, perhaps. Have you ever been to Germany? Have you ever been to Germany and noticed how quiet everything is there? Like if you take public transportation in Germany, like the buses, the metros, the trains, they're super quiet. So I remember the first time I discovered the silent wagon on the train. You take the train, you can pay a little bit extra, and there's a wagon that's like no noise is allowed. It's like super quiet, made for people who do like deep work or reading or sleeping. First time I discovered this was amazing. I was like, wow, I can't even hear flies around here. And then I went back to my country, to Italy, and I found out that we have the same thing. So I was like, oh, this is great. I can enjoy peace and quiet on the train and do my deep work. As soon as and this is a true story, by the way, as soon as I enter in the wagon, there's old man screaming on the phone, talking with his friends, like, yeah, just I've arrived on the train, everything is fine, with a huge symbol on the window, right? So let's say this is the window, huge symbol with like a red, circle with like no on the phones, and the guy was literally screaming. So that's a vibe. Welcome to Italy. This is also connected with the challenge that I'm doing. I think this was like week 9 of 53skills.com, where I had to talk with 50 strangers. I had to cold approach 50 strangers in 1 week, which for Italians is like a casual Tuesday. But For other cultures, again, when I was in Germany, you'd meet, I think, 50 people in the span of like 2 years and a half. So, yeah, different cultures, huh? I wonder when you're gonna watch this later, where you are from and how is the culture in your country? Like, is it a very talkative, open country, or is it like more distanced? Would be cool to know. Let me see. What else do I have here? Hmm. Ah, this one could be interesting. Um, so two people go hunting. These two hunters. It's a Sunday, and they go hunting. At one point, while they're focused, right, they're looking for their next target. One of the two guys falls on the floor, and he doesn't get up. So he's like just fell on the floor, and then the other guy panics. He's like, oh my god, what am I gonna do now?" So he immediately calls the emergency. He's like, "Hey, I think my friend died here. What should I do?" Like, I'm panicking, So like immediately the guy on the phone, from the emergency says, "Sir, please calm down. First thing is important to make sure, or at least to make sure that your friend is dead." So then there's a silence. There's a gunshot, and then the guy comes back on the phone and says, "Yeah, I can confirm he's dead. What now?" That's also a bit of a dark humor one. Um, what else do I remember? Because I prepared, as I said, I watched so many jokes. I read so many jokes on the internet this week, and a lot of them are terrible, by the way. I have to be honest with you. So, like, if you go and check all those top 50 jokes, best jokes to make your colleagues laugh, or whatever, like, all of them are terrible. They are repeated. For example, what do you call a cheese that's not yours? And it's like nacho cheese, not nacho cheese. I read that so many times, and it's terrible. It never made me laugh. Um, but I found, as I told you, I found around like 9 of them that I kind of saved for the collection. So another one is a guy is walking in a neighborhood in New York, and then he sees a little a little sign that says like "talking dog for sale." I was like, "What? That cannot be." So he goes at this place to find the dog. He sees the dog and he asks like, "Hey, what's your story?" to the dog. And the dog answers, "Well, I discovered I could talk when I was at a young age. I worked for the CIA for years. I served overseas in military operations. And then now I'm just helping elderly people to do their daily chores and do like grocery shopping." And the guy is absolutely stunned. It's like, he goes to the owner of the dog and asks, like, "Why would you be selling this incredible dog that can talk?" And then the owner says, "Because he's a liar. He never did any of those things." Now, also important, folks. My humor is a little bit actually much more darker, and I have like much worse jokes. But I'm doing this live stream on YouTube, and I do not want to get my account suspended or canceled. So thank you for for understanding that we cannot post all the jokes that I had in mind. I might make a list. Actually, if you're interested, I might prepare like a little list, and give you the most unhinged jokes I found. And but I probably give those like in the newsletter. So if you check 53skills.com, you can find all the lessons from the other weeks that I did, like what happened in the previous episodes where I learned how to speak Bulgarian. I went to the US, talk with 50 strangers, doubled arm strength, and all of the like different challenges that we did. I'll put there probably the list of unhinged illegal jokes. Until then, how about we switch it up with something different? So a man walks into a bar and bets with the bartender $50 that he can bite his own eye. $50 bet that he can bite his own eye. The bartender thinks about it. He's like, "No way. But come on, I'll make the bet with you. $50." So the man takes out his glass eye and bites it. The bartender pays him the $50. Half an hour later, the man comes back and he's like, double or nothing. I bet with you $100 that I can bite my other eye. So the bartender thinks, okay, this guy clearly isn't blind. He walked in here. So he's like, okay, I take the bet. So the man takes out his fake teeth and bites his other eye. So there you go. Okay, I hope I got at least half a laugh with this one. It was double unexpected. I'm trying to look for like double hits, you know. Um, hmm. What else can I tell you? So I think rice is a great food. Rice is a great food if you think, whenever, like, think about it, how amazing rice is. Whenever you're feeling hungry and you want two thousands of one thing, you could just eat rice. You just ate 2,000 rice. Think about that. While I'm looking for my next joke that I saved. um, also, I have this other one. So there's this eccentric billionaire that invites his friends to a party at his house. Uh, and he wants to do something fancy. He's like, I want to, do something crazy. So he puts in his pool 20 crocodiles. And he's like, all right, I want to do something crazy. Like I put my pool is full of crocodiles, but the first person that gets from one side to the other swimming, I'm going to give them $5 million. Nobody accepts the deal. Like that's super, super dangerous. And the billionaire is like, okay, fine, I understand. How about I give you $5 million and my mansion? But still, nobody accepts the deal. Nobody goes in the pool. And then he tries again. How about I give you 5 million? If you cross the pool full of crocodiles, I'm going to give you $5 million, my mansion, and a boat. Suddenly, somebody goes in the pool and he swims to the other side. So, and then the billionaire is impressed. I was like, oh, I didn't know you have this much love for like boats. So, congrats, you won. Do you want first the boat or the house or the money? And the guy says, no, first I want to find the idiot that pushed me in the pool. I have no idea if this is working or not. I don't have a live audience in front of me. So, whoever you are, if you are there, I hope your evening is going great. And I hope out of these 6 jokes that I got until now, at least one made you smile. That is my only objective for today. Because I traveled for like 10 hours with the train. It's been like a super long day, but I'm not going to give up until I get one smile from you. So there is Einstein and his driver. They're driving around town because Einstein needs to go to another conference. But he's very bored. He's like, I've been talking about the same things for years, like I don't want to do this anymore. So he's like, the driver is telling him, like, if you want, I can take your place because I heard all your talks and I know what you say. And Einstein agrees. He's like, you know what? Why not? Let's try it once. Because like they haven't seen you yet in this country here. Let's try it. So then he goes, he delivers the talk, and he does great. He actually says exactly the same things as Einstein, except at one point, somebody comes and asks a very difficult question, like something very complex about physics. So then the driver says, that question is so simple that I'm going to ask my driver to answer it for you. The driver would be Einstein. I don't know if I'm doing the delivery right or wrong, though. Like, they kind of make me smile a little bit, but maybe I should not smile. Maybe I should just say them and be serious. All right. Let's try this other one. So there's a guy named Tommy that buys a horse from a farmer for $200. The farmer agrees to deliver it the next day. The next day, the farmer shows up and says, sorry, but the horse died. So Tommy is like, well, then give me my money back. And the farmer's like, I can't. I already spent the money. So then Tommy is like thinking for a second. He thinks, like, fine. Bring me the dead horse. So, and the farmer is like, what are you gonna do with with a dead horse? I'm going to do a lottery. Like, what? Like the farmer is confused. He's like, you can't, do a lottery to give people like to win a dead horse. Nobody would buy a ticket for a lottery like that. And then Tommy is like, well, of course I can. I'm just not gonna tell anybody that the horse is dead. A month later, the farmer, um, a month later, like the farmer sees again Tommy and asks him, what happened with that dead horse? And Tommy's like, actually sold for the dead horse lottery 300 tickets at $5 each. And then the farmer's like, but didn't anyone complain about this? And he's like, yeah, the guy who won complained about it and I gave him the $5 back. Right, I see in the chat we have a comment. Tell us a story. A story. I mean, let me see. I have I think like 9 more minutes remaining for this live stream. I can tell you the story of how I almost became a pirate in Bulgaria. It's one of the places where I go in the summer. So it was a Friday evening. I was walking with a friend of mine when out of nowhere a fly hits my eye, enters in my eye. Like, I'm just walking and then like just little fly goes into directly into my eye. Super painful. And I'm trying to remove it and I can't. It's stuck in the eye. So then I go back home. I try to wash it off. I can't. It just doesn't go away. And like it's really stuck. I'm like, what do I do now? So I try basically to wash it off. It doesn't work. The eye starts getting redder and bigger, and it's like Friday evening, and it's like, ooh, this might become a very big problem. So then I called the emergency room where I was staying, like the emergency, in Bansko, in Bulgaria. I got the most zero interest call of my life from like medical professionals. They were like, yeah, it's Friday evening. Probably better if you wait by Monday. Our shift is almost over. So they showed absolute zero empathy. That was a very interesting situation. So I'm like, okay, they don't care. What do I do now? Because the situation is getting worse. Situation is getting worse. It's like my eye is becoming bigger and more painful. So then I'm lucky because one of my friends, he's like, hey, there's a bigger hospital nearby in the wonderful city of Razlog, Bulgaria, and I can drive you there. I was like, okay, why not? Situation is getting serious because by Monday, if nobody cures it, my eye, I'm gonna be, like the Cyclops, just with one eye, and that's it. So I'm like, I need to fix this. I go to this hospital. Now, the first thing that was interesting to notice was that the the nurses, like one was dressed with yellow, one was dressed with blue, one was dressed with green, and one was with purple. So if you're wondering where did the Power Rangers disappear when the show ended, well, they are in Bulgaria at the hospital of Razlog. So I try my luck, right? I go and talk with the ladies there and I'm telling them my problem. Again, they don't really care. So then I pull out the Italian dramatic card, of course. I started being super dramatic. I'm like, oh, my eye, oh mio Dio, per favore, trying, to. So then one of them, the one in yellow, because we all know that the yellow Power Ranger is the kindest, she's like, wait, wait here. I call somebody. I call somebody. Okay. I wait outside. Me and my friend. My eyes super painful. When at one point two policemen come, huge Bulgarian policemen. And in my state of confusion and pain, I start asking myself questions. I'm like, is it illegal to have eye pain in Bulgaria? Did I break the law with my complaints? What am I gonna do? So they come towards us, and then in the last moment they go inside the hospital. So I'm like, whew. That was a little bit of a tense moment. Good thing though that my friend, as I told you, like in Bulgaria, they were not that empathetic with my situation. They weren't happy that I was calling on Friday evening to tell them my problem. So my friend was super helpful, super supportive. He was telling me, Alex, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. I heard they do great eye amputation at the hospital, and I was like, and that is terrible. He's making all these great jokes. Of course, that's the perfect moment to be very funny. He was telling me, yeah, don't worry. When they're gonna be finished with you, they're gonna give you like an eye patch. They're gonna put your parrot, and you can go and steal ships. You're looking for gold chests. And I was like, another banger. That was a great joke from my friend Stefan. But while I'm waiting, at one point I hear behind me somebody calling, somebody saying some things, and there's like, davai, davai. And I'm like, what is happening? Um, I see in the chat, if they do eye amputation, you can take bets to bite your own eye. Okay, that's a good one. You should do comedy. The person that sent this, comedy time. Um, so I hear this voice behind me, right? So somebody talking. I turn around, and there's this like grandpa. There's this like old grandpa, very old man that looked like Gandalf with like a t-shirt, short pants, asking me to just join him, to go with him. Now again, I was in pain. I was like, what am I gonna do? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow Gandalf of Bulgaria wherever he's gonna take me on a magical adventure. When I noticed that he also had one of these little sausage dogs. What do you call them? The dachshund. And of course, I'm walking through the catacombs of the Razlog Hospital in Bulgaria with the Gandalf, and I'm asking myself, is the dog medical staff? Is it part of his assistant team? Like, what is this about? Because, like, in Italy, we cannot have dogs in the hospitals. But, it's just a factual observation. He brings me to his studio. He puts me on this ancient steel machine, for my face to hold it and to have like this magnifying lens to look at my eye. And then he pulls out a needle, like a syringe. And like I start sweating. I'm like, oh God, no, please. I don't know what he's gonna do, but please not like that. Like I just God take me at that point, because I have a phobia of needles. It's like I'm not afraid of anything, but like needles, I'm like I'm cooked. And I was like, please no, everything but not that. And what he does is like he just brings it closer and just like puts a little bit of water, and then immediately the pain is gone. Immediately, like my eye is fixed, everything is fine. I'm feeling immediately relieved, and I was like, oh my God, Gandalf of Bulgaria saved me. I'm feeling great. Like my eye is fixed. So I'm super happy. I'm now again positive. And this was interesting because when I had to, like in Italy, for example, when you go to the hospital, you give them your health insurance card. They take your data and stuff like that. That's not how they operate in Razlog, Bulgaria. Like the guy just pulls out an ancient notebook with yellow papers. Like the paper was yellow, for probably one of the first names there was like Stalin or something. But he writes, like stupid Italian tourist complaining about eye pain or something like that. He tells me 20 price. And I'm like 20 leva, the Bulgarian money is $20, 20 euro. I give him like 50 because I was super happy. I was like, he fixed my problem, I'm fine. I give him like 50 euro. He puts it in his pocket and he gives me back like 20 euro change. I'm like, okay, I guess he has drinks with his friends right now. Like that was a profitable day for him. So that was the medical, bureaucratic part. But then this is the final part is like at the end of this whole thing. This is a true story, by the way. That actually happened. Like this was like last year. We're walking out, right? It's like me, my friend Stefan, Gandalf, and his assistant dog. And at one point, we start thinking, my friend Stefan says, Alex, they say they will call somebody for you, but this guy doesn't seem like a doctor to me. He's not dressed like a doctor. So we're thinking, and he's like, Alex, do you think they called for you, the veterinarian? So, yeah, that's how I got treated by the animal doctor in Bulgaria, and he was great, by the way. Like I can't complain. He did a great job, but magical things can happen. I guess when you are an annoying Italian tourist on Friday evening in Bulgaria with eye pain. So I see we're at 29 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you for all the people that tuned in on this live stream of comedy practice for 53skills.com. Why am I doing this? Because making strangers laugh in the first 30 seconds of an interaction is a superpower. I think every human would benefit from this. Nobody in school teaches you how to be funny, and I think the world would be a better place if people knew 5 jokes, right, to make strangers smile. I would like to know that, right? When I meet new people, I would love to be able to make them smile in the first minute. That's why I put on the list comedy. This is skill 12 of 53. So if you want to check the full list and what we learned in the last 3 months, you can find it at 53skills.com, like 53skills.com, the website. I post daily updates. If you have requests on skills that you'd like to learn, let me know in the comments. And I guess thank you for coming to my little show. Important to know, I didn't say I'm going to master comedy in 1 week. I'm saying I'm going to try to learn it. So this was the show. But thank you for joining. Dear friend, I wish you a beautiful rest of your day and see you tomorrow with a new challenge. Maybe we'll do some magic or maybe we'll make a chair from wood. Have a beautiful evening. Ciao.